Okay, for all you guys that have had wet bleeder caps after you've bled your brakes and you've immediately put the caps on these and then gone for a ride, or the next day take them off and discover that they're wet inside, and you assume that the bleeder screw has not been tightened enough. Well, these things take about 53 inch-pounds of force, which is about 4.5 foot-pounds, which isn't a lot. So I kept getting wet covers, so I would dry them out with a Q-tip, wash them off, and then take a paper towel, wind it up as tight as I could, put it inside, which I thought was going far enough, but it wasn't, and then afterwards put the cap back on, and a day later they were wet. So I would take the wrench and give them another tighten until I figured out I had 4 bleeders on this bike. 3 of them had caps and 1 didn't. The one without the cap was dry. So I started thinking that there must still be brake fluid down inside of here, underneath the threads and above the V where it seals. So that brake fluid would go into the hole in the bleeder and would be sitting in there, and when you drove the bike, it would splash around and get that cap wet. So what I did was I took some cardboard, 1/16 thick cardboard, and cut them into 1/16 slivers so that I could take these and drop them down into the bleeder screw and see if they were wet. So I've just come back from a ride and nothing, very little. A little bit of moisture because there's probably still some down in there. And the other side, let's have a look and see. Get that down in there like that. And see, these will go right to the bottom. You pull it out and virtually nothing. Virtually nothing there. Pretty much dry. So that tells me that there was fluid down in there until I dried them like this. And let's try the other side here, the clutch side. And this would have fluid in there. And put that down in, everything's pretty warm. Bring it out, nothing. So I've backed all these bleeders off probably to, maybe 1 1/4 times what the spec is supposed to be, 53 inch-pounds. So this was the bleeder that got me thinking that it was dry and it didn't have a cap on it. So that's the one where the air was getting to the brake fluid and drying it out down inside of the bleeder. Now I've got a few spots on the pavement, and that was the other thing that I started realizing, was this fluid had dried up. These ones were sealed from the air with the rubber caps and couldn't dry. So this is what you need to do. You need to get yourself a little cardboard dipstick type thing and stick them in there and wick out the brake fluid, and then leave them for a day, and then you'll be able to put the cap on without them getting wet. Okay, so that's about all I have. So hopefully that'll help all you guys. So that's my tip for the day. Yamaha Royal Star.